when you start a business, I think a lot of people really idealize it. It's all looks so glamorous because you hear the stories, how easy it is, and all of a sudden, overnight, there's a huge success, and all you did is come up with an idea. But there's so much hard work behind the scenes. So I think to me, it was the first 2 years, there was no work-life balance. It was just work-work balance. So I just was working all the time, and I didn't take vacation. And I think it definitely impacted my relationships along the way, but I don't regret it because now I'm at a point where we're in a hyper-growth stage, but I have executives who are leading teams who, if I'm not there and I'm taking my first vacation in a couple of weeks, when I'm not there, I know the business is not gonna go out of business. We're not gonna dip in sales just because I'm not there. Versus in the beginning, I don't think I could have said that. And so I think there's time for everything. And one of my amazing mentors in my life always told me, you can have it all, you just can't have it all at the same time. And so it's really important that for me, the first 2 years and probably the next 5 years in my life, it's all about my business. And it's just important for me to communicate to my friends and family that that's what my priorities are. But at some point that will change and the priority will be family. And it would be interesting to see both of you guys because you both are married and have families, and I'm not. So.
Yeah, my experience has been I think different than yours, because when we started our business, we had 0 full-time people. It was really it was a family passion kind of fun side project, and so over the years as we've grown it, it's become a big challenge. I still practice law. Mm-hmm. 2 of my cousins that are founders still work, and so we've moved more and more people over full time and made hires. But I mean, yeah, for me now, practicing law, kind of overseeing our business, advising 2 tech companies, coaching Little League, trying to be a good husband. It's really a big challenge, and I've made for me personally, I've made a very conscious effort to try to kind of tune out, so whenever I get home to just put the computer away, put the cell phone away, have dinner with my wife and kids, or like I said, coach Little League, coach soccer, but really try to take conscious breaks where just put the phone on silent and just put it away.
To what you're talking about, work-life balance starts to change as your life changes and your responsibilities change, right? For my first startup, it was all-consuming. We lived and worked in the same place where we started, and we were doing this, all the time. We would sleep maybe, 5-6 hours and be working the rest of the time. And I've learned with my second startup that, if you can delegate appropriately, if you can hire the right people, you can have much better work-life balance. I think this time around, both my co-founders and myself, we all have small children, and so we've really made it a priority for both us and the business to not work as hard as I did for my first business. We're still working really hard, but being able to take time off, to step away from things, I think helps you be recharged and come back more strongly. And getting consumed by the business is probably one of the biggest challenges for entrepreneurs, right? Because you identify yourself with your business. When it's failing, you feel like you're failing yourself and not just that the business is failing.
I mean, I think that over the last 2.5 years, I just became better at managing the downs, because I think that any business, there are challenges at all times. Mm-hmm. I think we're now in hyper growth mode, and that took 2 years to get here. So, but it's not like I'm better at managing that stress, and that even if things are not going well, I'm able to go home and sleep, versus before I would sit all night and try to figure out what I'm doing. But I think it's also internal, that you have to decide that you're worthy on your own without your startup, but it takes time.
Yep.
So even coming with problems to my advisors, it was much harder in the beginning, because exactly to your point, I was identifying myself with the company so much that if the company wasn't doing well, that means I wasn't doing well. So now coming and saying, this is what's happening, whether good or bad, and here's what I'm doing, and kind of getting their advice is much easier now that I can see that, whatever happens with Shoptiques, and I think it's going to be tremendous success. One is, I think that it's my team's dedication is what really driving it forward as well, not only just you. But separating the two has kind of helped me along the way to be more successful, I think, as a leader too.